What I got with me now is a crosscut saw. This is in the early 1900s saw. They dated all the way back to the 1700s, or 1800s rather. With that being said, I'm restoring this one. I got it at a flea market. I have a lot of people that ask me to restore old farm equipment for them, just for a side job that I do, or side gig I guess. So right now, that's what I'm doing on this piece. So the saw is heavily rusted, the handles are kind of worn down, weathered, there's no stain on them anymore, but kind of splintery, everything's rusted solid or shut. I was barely able to get this wing nut off of the end of the handle here, which clamps it to the saw blade. Fortunately it did come loose, and I was able to pry it off with clamps. I was able to loosen it up enough to where I was able to thread it off the rest of the way. Once I finally was able to get the clamps off, I was able to knock everything loose. These are the two handles. You can see they're pretty worn out. There's rust on them. You can see where the clamps have been for quite a long time. These are the wing nuts that are severely rusted. Somebody rotted away a little bit. I had a lot of metal work to do. I'm not really much of a carpenter when it comes to wood. However, I can do metal work pretty decently. One of the tricks that I've learned over the years is to use white distilled vinegar. It's an acid, but it's not strong enough to erode away steel, iron, stuff like that. It can hurt aluminum for prolonged periods of exposure if it's inside the acid bath. Basically what this does is it gets rid of rust, it erodes away the rust. It's severely harmful actually to any corrosion that's on metal, without damaging or taking away any of the thickness of whatever you are using it for, or pitting it, or any varieties, things like that. The only downside to this type of treatment for metal is it takes a very long time for it to actually work correctly. You have to have some form of treated metal already. What I didn't show, which I should have, was I lightly wired brushed to loosen up the rust so the vinegar can get underneath it. As you can see, I put the parts in there first, or the hold downs for the handles, and then I noticed that the saw blade wouldn't fit in there all the way. So I went ahead and took off the, or tried attempting to take off the, I guess you could call the shafts that go through the handles. And this is already 10 minutes of it sitting in the vinegar bath. You can see the metal is actually already starting to come through, which is a good sign. One of the things you also have to remember is if the metal is too far gone, it's probably not worth your time even attempting this. So while it was in the bath, again, this is just vinegar, so it's not too harmful to you, unless you're allergic or something like that, is that I started using a wire brush to scrape the loose rust away. You can even see that it's starting to turn more and more brown inside the vinegar bath as we speak. You can see that it's already working on the small parts. I go ahead and I loosen up the rust on them as well. Now the oxidation will actually come as black on the metal when you wipe it off, and that's why it looks like it's some type of midnight black on it. And that's really just the liquid rust and the erosion that has come, and corrosion that has come onto the surface, and you can wipe it off with a rag. Now I have heard people just leaving that type of, I guess, film on top of the steel to prevent it from rusting. I don't know if that works or not. I'm going to make it to where this is shiny again. So now you can see that it's worked on the parts. They're pretty slick and span. All the loose paint, all the rust has come off. And I'll give you a close-up on, that's all the liquid rust that's in there. You can see that it's all murky brown. There's a bunch of rust just laying on the ground. You can even see that it's bubbling there. That bubbling is the oxidation and the rust coming off of the actual part itself, which is a good sign. When you're working with non-ferrous metal, meaning it doesn't have carbon in it, So anything other than iron and steel and I guess titanium, you need to be extra careful because it can actually pit and ruin quite a lot of parts if you're not careful, if you leave it in there for a longer period of time. Now that the saw blade has been in there for quite a while, I went ahead and just used some goof off. Anything that's got degreaser, anything like that works great. This went ahead and you can even see the metal is showing through, but it went ahead and got rid of the that erosion, I guess, film that's been sitting on top of the metal for quite a while. So I kept spraying it, kept rubbing it off with a rag. You got to make sure you don't scratch the metal because any scratches will show up on the final product. That's the bad part about metal. It's kind of unforgiving at times. This machine is incredibly helpful. This is actually a ultrasonic cleaner. Basically uses vibrations with very hot water that goes in there. The parts sit on these plastic things. You can actually even heat the water up that's inside. I got this machine at Harbor Freight. It's Essential Machinery. I forgot how much I paid for it, but it wasn't expensive at all. You can customize how much time you want in it by seconds. I'm turning on the heater as you see. I'm putting the water in there, and then I'm going to go ahead and turn it on soon. But that's the general powder cleaner that gets dumped in there, and that just basically degreases, gets rid of corrosion, erosion even more, gets rid of all the vinegar that was on there. And I'll show you a close-up. This just basically shows you what it is. Then I had this go through the cycle about, I don't know, 4 or 5 times. You can see the rust came off even more. Now it gets slimy. You can see that there's like this weird slime to it. Now you got to clean it again. This is the worst part about the whole job, is cleaning and making sure everything's okay. It's basically what it is when you're storing all these old parts, is just cleaning nonstop and getting rid of the rust. So we're going to get rid of the rust even further on the saw blade to make it polish kind of and shine again. So I'm using 2 different types of sandpaper. This is 320 and 600, and some steel wool for the harder surfaces. I'm using a flat sanding block so I don't have an uneven finish. I guess so you don't make any pits, divots, any kind of ravines. It's a nice flat surface. You can see that as I start scraping it, you can see the light surface rust start going away. That's normal, and that's good. Now there's certain really tough flakes that I'm using 00 grade steel wool. You can see it clogs up the sandpaper, so I'm tapping a lot trying to get it off. And I'm using the steel wool to get some of the really hard flakes to come off. That usually works a little bit better for me. As the blade starts getting shinier and shinier, I got to start getting rid of the rust dust. So I start going ahead and wiping it with a cloth, and I go back through it again. And right now I'm just using a 320. To get it to a really nice polish, I'll go to the 600, but I'll do that later on this afternoon. Unfortunately, you'll have to forgive me. There's no audio now at this part. I had this camera plugged into my radio, and apparently there's some type of feedback issue. So you'll have to excuse that. I was trying to charge it while I was filming, and that wasn't a good solution. So anyway, as you can see what I'm doing here, I am using 600 grit sandpaper, and I'm going to go ahead and go over the polished areas with it just to get that extra shine and sheen to it and try making a better surface quality on it. Now the part that I have been sanding and making sure and polishing and everything's okay has a unique sheen to it, while the other side looks really acidic, disgusting, and it still has all that rust on it. So I do the same exact process on this side that I did on the other side. Unfortunately for one part, it was extremely corroded and the rust just wasn't coming up fast enough, so I went ahead and went with a 120 round piece of sandpaper so I could use on this machine, which was a lot faster than just doing it by hand. Another technique I found was I put small itty bitty pieces of cotton on the sandpaper with this machine, so as it's rotating, it's sanding and it's slightly polishing, and it acts as a vacuum, so it sucks up a lot of the debris, which helps it polish even more and faster. And it's not really even polishing, it's just making it have a more a brighter sheen to it. Now I'm using a very fine file and I'm barely taking off any of the teeth. As you can see, I'm just going ahead and slightly sharpening each one, getting rid of the rust and any burrs, and trying to straighten out any bent or crooked teeth. It's extremely important that each tooth on this saw is extremely sharp and not dull. It's not crooked, they're not chipped. So I'm going through each one to make sure that it's okay, everything's correct. I'm getting rid of the rust and I'm resharpening them because I'm sure they haven't been sharpened in 30 plus, 40 plus years even. This file I'm using has an extremely specific purpose in my shop. I only use it for sharpening anything that has a blade on it. It's a very light file. It's not aggressive. It's not coarse. It's very fine. So it's easy to sharpen teeth with. Each one I'm going through and sharpening on both sides. And then obviously I flip over the saw and do the same thing on that side. So now we're at the handles. You can see obviously that I'm using the 120, went to 80. I'm getting all the surface erosion off. I'm trying to see how severely cracked they are, if anything's destroyed, which to be honest, this one's actually in really good shape. It was just weathered on the outside a lot. I put a more severe chamfer on top, and then I went ahead and sanded the top to make it more smooth. I like having round handles. I don't like having sharp edges, especially when you're working with them all day long, which I'll probably be using this during the summer. I lightly sanded the brackets down there where the hold-ons go for the handle to the actual saw. I didn't want to take off too much and make it out of round or make it too small for them to grab onto. And I'm trying to also get the rust and erosion off of them as well, so we can go ahead and put a nice stand on it. And I'd say that handle is ready to be stained. Just going ahead and polishing up where the brackets go onto it again. And then you can see how the old one looks disgusting and the new one's actually pretty decent. When you're sanding anything, you want to go up the whole entire length of whatever you're doing. If you do one spot, you'll wind up making a divot, and you'll feel it when you're using the tools. You never really want to take off a whole lot if you can. Sometimes a lot of parts you just have to replace, but I got lucky with these handles, and I didn't actually have to make one. And again, I'm using 80 grit now to make a nice chamfer on the top, so it's rounded more and it's not like as a 90 degree. You can see how it's all rounded again. And then I go ahead and, like I did the other one, I get rid of the light erosion and corrosion where the grips go. Now, like I said earlier in the video, I'm not that good of a woodworker. I can get better, it just takes time. One thing I was taught in high school was, with darker colors, or if you're using something that's going to have a lot of friction on it, you coat it really thick and dark, like I'm doing here, and you let it sit for a hot minute. You let the wood absorb it, and then you use a dry rag, and you get the excess stain off. And now you can see that it's a solid stained handle. And I go ahead and go over it again for another coat. I go on top, I make sure everything's got the stain, and then I wipe it off again. And then I do the same exact process to the other handle, the same exact way. And there you go. The saw is ready, the handle's ready, everything's dried, ready to go. The parts that hold the handles on could have probably been polished a little better, but I think over time, me using it with all the friction that's going on, I think they'll start polishing up again. Now the nerve-wracking part is making sure that everything goes back on the way it should and make sure that nothing has been tore up while in the cleaning process. Now everything's got to fit back together pretty good. I think everything was okay. The handle goes on, the grips are good on it again. Then the wing nut goes on there super easy this time because everybody is clean, there's no rust, and the handle looks amazing. It could be a lot better obviously, but again this is just a hand tool, it'd be tore up again. After this video ended, I thought, I'll show everybody how it looks, how it works, and then I went ahead and polished the blade one more time, and there you go. Now it's outside in natural light, and I figured we'd go ahead and see what it does. Now obviously with this type of saw, you don't cut a flat object, you cut a rounded object so a tree that's on its side, or if you're cutting a tree down, I suppose, with it. This is also a two-person saw, so it's very hard to get it stable, but when it is cut, you can see the amount of chips just flying off of it. The teeth are sharp, it's doing its job, and it's doing a pretty good job, I think. And I'm not hardly putting any type of pressure on it. You can see how it's slowly sinking down further and further and further.